Okay, so we're driving as you should in a Lexus LS. Slow and relaxed, and you know what? When you get a car like this, you're no longer late to things, you're simply held up. However, that mentality seems to be changing with the folks at Lexus, especially if you remember our discussion with Yaguchi-san, 2-3 years ago? And now I've met Suga-san, who is the chief designer of this vehicle, and while he's been with the company 30 years, he needed to change the personality. V6 twin turbo, big luxury car, Mercedes 7 Series, still doing V8s. Put our foot into it, spool up some turbos. Riddle me this, what does the 2018 Lexus LS have in common with the Nissan GT-R, Corvette, and Aston Martin DB11? I'll give you a second to sort that out in your brain. Bist du fertig? Ich auch. If you said front mid-engine placement, you'd be sort of correct. What the Lexus engineers did is they picked up the 3.5 V6 and they moved it just behind the front axle. Now granted, it isn't quite like the Corvette and the GT-R where there's a transaxle in the rear, the transmission and the CVT and the electric motors and the hybrid and all kind of stuff. That still sits in the front part of the car, but the logic is, yes, the lower center of gravity from the way the platform is set up, but to push the weight in the back to have an impact on driving dynamics. How much? Let's find out. Okay, so with that, let's put our foot into it. Just a side note as we brake, downshift. In Sport Plus, we're not even gonna waste our time in celery mode here. And just listen to it. It doesn't sound like a Lexus. And as we get to, this is beautiful up here in Northern California. This thing, yeah, it's got the grunt of a V8, but the fact that that torque comes in at 1600 RPM, all of a sudden it's so much more usable in the car it replaces, to the point where, dare I say this about an LS, it's actually downright fun to drive. Thus far throughout this episode, we've seen a number of non-traditional Lexus themes. Well, that continues into platforms and construction. You know me, I love me some platforms and construction. Well, if you are a fan of the LC500, which I am, and I promised you a tech review and a full first drive review coming soon, you know that that has a new global Lexus architecture luxury, GA-L. I love the Japanese name convention of things. Well, this rides on the same platform. However, there are a couple of things that needed to change specifically for LS duty. And that is, they wanted to bring the car to a lower ride height, but they didn't want to alienate the previous Lexus buyers. So the car sits at a traditional height when it's not moving. However, once traditional Lexus buyers get into the car, it lowers 10 mils in its normal ride height. Not Sport Plus, but its normal ride height. And that is a big function of the platform itself, which has a number of different materials. So for example, hood, fenders, doors, and trunk lid, all aluminum, and then obviously high strength steel throughout this, and then even down to die-cast aluminum in all 4 strut towers. That brings together overall a lower vehicle, wider vehicle, but also lighter. Okay, now that we revealed the 800-pound gorilla in the room, let's put this thing around some corners in a car you and I never normally do this with. Please don't try this at home. Wow, it works. And it's a lot of things, and we discussed this in the tech review. We've got active stabilizer bars, the car is lighter, center of gravity is lower, and all of a sudden what's working is there's more composure. Even, you know what? Really don't try this at home. Let's try this in normal mode. The first, I want to say, couple of blocks I drove this thing, even in the city of San Francisco, I was blown away by how much sharper this is, even in the basic setting. You got to go all the way to Eco to get this thing to even remotely resemble previous Lexi. But you know what? We're not here for Eco. Let's go back up to Sport Plus, and we need to focus on one other piece of information. There's some toe-in back there. Something you would normally never think would be in a Lexus LS, but all of a sudden, it makes this car feel like a shorter wheelbase than 123 inches. And this is really where it pays dividends. Come around a really sharp corner here. I'm not even braking, and there's composure. Normally there would be a combination of significant lean over there and squat in the back. Again, put our foot into it. I'm gonna brake around this one a little bit, and you don't feel it. It's almost like my old Supra. You gotta let it decide where you wanna put it. Matter of fact, it's a little bit sharper than that. Dare I say, coming around a road like this, it's even more BMW than a BMW. Who knew? Okay, so let's geek out about one of the details, and that is the head-up display. And yes, I fully admit it is odd to talk about a head-up display from outside the vehicle. But this, if you're not driving it, is the best vantage point to understand what's going on. Look at the size of the opening here. This is like the quarry from Fred Flintstone that I used to work in. Basically, that projects an image 3 meters in front of the windshield that is, get this, 6 inches tall and 24 inches wide. So what's that old saying? When in Rome, do as the Romans. Well, it doesn't look particularly flashback here yet. However, with a couple of Q branch changes, we can fix that. Bring this down here. Got a little iPad-esque kind of thing here. HVAC, audio, all that kind of stuff, shade, lamp kind of thing, go back here. But what we're excited about is the seat. I want to move that forward, so that's this button here. And it does it automatically. I don't have to hold my hand on the screen. Now I've got some real leg room. Oh, and the seat, oh, this is very nice. Now I'm starting to relax a little bit here. You know what, maybe we should do a massage. You know what, let's put that down even further so I don't have the headrest in my way. I can see forward as mode drives me down the road here. And then let's go back here. The relaxation, oh, that goes even further out, wow. Okay, completely stretched out here, and I'm 6 foot, and I'm not even touching the seat over there. Let's go into relaxation mode. How about we do well, we have a choice, full body refresh, full body stretch, that doesn't sound good. Full body simple? No, you know what, let's go to full body refresh, how about that? And then get this, there is a vanity here, not that we're gonna play around with that, definitely not me. Okay, I think I'm good. I'm gonna sort this out and you guys, you go do whatever you peasants do. So, an admission. Over the past 8 years, I preface every Lexus episode with, I'm not that much of a Lexus guy, but I feel at this point I need to stop saying that because there's no other way to put this. I am somewhat blown away by how far Lexus engineers and designers have traveled in creating or really reinventing the LS to the point that I would argue it is on par for the #2 spot, at least on par for the #2 spot in this segment, meaning it's as good, if not inches out, the 7 Series in a couple of areas, and is really nipping at the heels of the S-Class. Okay, so with that rather surprising result, I'm gonna leave you with the obvious question. In light of the new LS, what would you choose? This, the S-Class, or the 7 Series? But I'm gonna throw you a curveball. Not only which one would you choose, but what engine would you have fitted to your LS, your S-Class, or your 7 Series? And you know what, for good measure, let me know what region of the world you hail from, and if you currently drive a vehicle like this. Let me know in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV all one word, MotoManTV all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I want to leave you with a fun fact. There's going to be an F-Sport, and you and I are going to drive it together, version of this. But you know what? They want to make the F-Sport 20% of LS sales. You know what? We should probably come back next year and see if they did that, because that will absolutely dictate if the buyers really have changed for this. Anyway, until I see you next time, bis später.